Richard Steele was a prose writer of the age of Pope or Augustan age. So, kindly note it, Richard Steele was from the age of Pope or rather Augustan age. His first work, The Christian Hero, was thoroughly Augustan in character, The Christian Hero, and his other works include The Tattler, The Guardian, The Funeral, The Lying Lover, The Tender Husband, and The Conscious Lover. All right. It was Richard Steele with Joseph Addison foundation of the periodical essay was laid during the 18th century. He started a periodical named The Tattler, in which he appeared as a preacher, and it was started in 1709. Richard Steele says the general purpose of this paper is to expose the false art of life, and it was under the pseudonym of Isaac Bickerstaff. He recommended truth, innocence, honor, and virtue as the chief ornaments of life. He started again a new periodical named The Spectator, to which he made diversified contributions. Spectator, it has an important because the Trumpet Club actually taken from The Spectator. Richard Steele's essay on the Trumpet Club brings out the Englishman's ignorance very clearly. After describing the members of the club, Steele breaks out into open moralizing the assumed role of spectator, a member of the club. The essay, The Trumpet Club, opens with the confession of the spectator that after spending much time in serious studies, he enjoys talking to people of much lesser intelligence. This relaxes his mind and he finds it extremely soothing, especially before he turns to sleep. The conversation acts as a preparative for sleep. This is the reason for his going every day to the Trumpet Club. The club had original membership of 15. Later, it divided to 5. Of there, the spectator, Richard Steele, was held the wisest and the most well-read. He was consulted on all important matters. Sir Geoffrey Notch was one of the 5 members of the club. He was the oldest member. He enjoyed some privileges, occupying the same chair and stirring the fire. He was from an ancient family, inheriting a lot of wealth very early. He had spent all of it foolishly. In horse racing and cockfighting. He considered thus himself honest and worthy, and thought of every prosperous man as an upstart. So, the second person, Major Matchlock, the second person, the second member of the club. Major Matchlock was the next oldest member of the club. He had served in the Civil War of the 17th century and he knew all battles by heart. Major Matchlock. The third member, Dick Reptile, he was the third member of the club. He was good-natured and lazy, laughed at the jokes of others. He brought his 18-year-old nephew to the club to give him a taste of the world and of a good company. Dick Reptile. He brought his 18-year-old nephew.
The fourth member was a lawyer.
The Spectator says that the man of legal profession was the cleverest member of the club, excluding himself. He had learned by heart about 10 couples of the satirical poems Hudibras, written by Samuel Butler, and every day he quoted them and applied all of them to the conversation. And if any mention was made of a modern wit, then this man shook his head and complained of the dullness of the age. He then invariably gave them a story of Jack Ogles, the notorious gamester of the 18th century. Now let us go through the fifth member. The fifth member of the club, the trumpet club, was the spectator, the narrator. He was considered to be the wisest. He was held in a great esteem by the others, both as a man of experience and a man of learning. The club always met precisely at 6 in the evening, but on the night of which this account is given, the spectator did not go to the club till 7:30. Since the conversation in the club always took the same form and was about the same topics, he knew how much he had missed. He knew that the major had given his account of his favorable battles, and that the lawyer, having finished his line of poetry, was narrating an adventure of Jack Ogle. As soon as the spectator had sat down, Sir Geoffrey, in sheer goodwill, gave him a bit of his own tobacco. This was returned when the spectator asked the old gentleman to narrate the story of his favorite fighter cock Gantlet. Old Reptile was the silent member of the club. He always listened attentively to the fault of the others. It did not matter to him that this was what he heard every day. Every now and then he urged his nephew to listen attentively. The club broke up at 10 o'clock, as it always did, and Maid came with a lantern to light the spectator home. As going, he kept reflecting on the talkative nature of old men. He thought how small an old man looks whose conversation does not command respect. He felt particularly sorry about the tendency in old age to lengthen a story needlessly, only way to avoid a trifling and frivolous old age is to acquire knowledge through reading and intelligence, observing the life. One whose mind is empty of such knowledge will become an old trifling storyteller, but one whose mind is well stored will become a venerable old man whose discourage in enriching to others. The spectator concludes his essay by urging his readers that old people should take care to make their conversation like that of Nestor, the oldest and wisest heroes, whose talk was as sweet as honey. Even though he is feeling to stop, he is tempted to add something more and apologize for excess of talk. With that apology, he introduces a reference of Milton's Paradise Lost, where he writes the line, "His tongue dropped manna."